Yeah, the way Dallas is playing, you got to get it right. Now, they've had unbelievable injuries on the offensive line, and Philadelphia's other problem, they can't catch. Always an issue in the NFL. But Dallas is playing well. Philadelphia's got to get it right because Green Bay's defense now is a real thing. Trent Dilfer played in the NFL for a decade and a half, Pro Bowler, Super Bowls. He is now the head football coach in Nashville, Tennessee. What a great city that is. At Lipscomb Academy, they have 30-plus years of NFL coaching experience and playing on his staff. It's a great story, and he's joining us via the Coward Global Satellite Network. All right, so it would be easy for me to bang on Baker Mayfield today, but I'm not going to. There's very few quarterbacks in my life, Deshaun Watson, Russell Wilson, who can be effective with a bad O-line. I also don't love their play calling. There's no identity to me. So I'm not going to bang on Baker. If I said to you, solve Cleveland's offense, and you're in the coaching business now, what bothers you with the Browns?
I'd point to the play calling. I'd point to the lack of identity. I point directly to the last drive of the game where you get down there, you have 40-something seconds, you have some timeouts, and you don't have a running back, Nick Chubb, in the backfield. That's a lack of planning. That's a lack of sophistication offensively. To sit there and go empty and try to throw it in the tight red when you have timeouts, when you have a good back, or at least the threat of a run with runners in the backfield and using play action shows a lack of preparation, shows a lack of sophistication offensively. I was always worried about this with that head coaching hire and him calling plays too, that it was going to be a little too gunslinger mentality oriented. It was going to be a little too flash and sizzle and not enough substance. We saw it in week one when they were trying to chuck and duck the ball over the football field, and we saw it last night in critical moments that they're trying to play wide open instead of playing with physicality and soundness offensively, and it caught up with them.
Daniel Jones was interesting. Eli Manning as a Giant was 0-44, trailing by 18. I don't know how good Daniel Jones is going to be, but I do think football is hard, both at practice and in the games. And when you get down big, it really helps the sideline and the locker room to know we got a little bit of a playmaker back there. And I think Daniel brings that in. There's a little Alex Smith component. Flat speed, he can really run. What did you take away from his debut?
I mean, it's as good as it could have been. And I agree. I don't know how good he's going to be either. I did not see this level of maturity, this level, again, I'll use this word, sophistication in his game at Duke. Now, you did see the toughness. You saw the athleticism. He's a natural leader. I mean, people rave about his leadership qualities. But you didn't see that type of game at Duke where he could just put the team on his back. I mean, he was almost flawless. I haven't gone back and watched the game tape, but I've watched almost every snap on TV copy. And he played the position as clean as anybody this weekend. For his first start, coming back from 18, knowing pass downs, the defense knows he's going to throw on the run. I mean, all these different elements that you're right. It's really hard. It's not overstating it to say it is. It's one of the hardest things in all of sport to bring your team back on the road in the NFL by that many points. And he was fantastic. If he can carry over, build on this, then we're looking at a budding superstar. But consistency is what makes you great in the NFL, and we'll have to see if he can maintain consistency.
Listen, Baltimore is tough. They got some secondary issues to clean up. But, Trent, you and I have talked about this off air. Not every win is beautiful, and not every loss is catastrophic. I don't think anybody's going to go into Kansas City and win. I watched them this weekend with Baltimore, and they're going to be a handful. They may win time of possession all 16 games. Lamar is not quite there, but you know what? What he does really well. I think Baltimore's really an interesting team. What did you take from that game?
I can't say any better than you just did. I mean, they're going to be a nightmare for people. They're physical. The mistake they made yesterday was they tried to play this kind of push the ball down the field game with the Chiefs instead of just sticking to their MO, which is going to be Ingram, physicality in the run game, Lamar creating offense both in the running game with his legs and extending plays. they're just a nightmare to prepare for because it's such a hybrid Saturday and tough Sunday offense. I was really impressed with them. The Chiefs are scary good offensively, and if you get too far behind, they're going to take you out of your game. But I'm with you. I think the Ravens, Chiefs, Patriots obviously are kind of a cut above everybody else in the AFC, and that at the end of the year, those are the three teams we're going to be talking about.
What am I supposed to take from Dallas? I know they're really talented, but when you play a bad team, I mean, I've never been in locker rooms or in film rooms, but, you know, I'm sitting there thinking, I mean, how do you look at the film? I mean, you got 9 great players. They may not have one. Do I take anything from the Cowboys?
Yeah, I take the first drive of the second half because they were clunky in the first half, played down to their competition. Dak made a mistake here or there. Just some things weren't going their way. And then they come out in the second half of that first offensive drive, and you can see how explosive they can be. And then that's going to be the story of the Dallas Cowboys. This is what Kellen Moore and John Kitten have figured out that the Cowboys have needed offensively for quite a few years, that when you can run the football like they can, and they're going to be able to run it at will, then you must be explosive in the passing game. You don't want to be a completion, march the ball passing game team. You want to have explosive qualities. And almost every play they call has an explosive quality to it in the passing game, and they showed that in the second half. They came out, made a big play right off the get-go, gets called back, and they just went chunk, 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 all the way into the end zone. So to me, the most impressive thing is that young dynamic defense is going to keep them in games, one of the best runners in football, and now a passing game that can knife you in a heartbeat, and that's what they showed in that first drive of the second half.
You know, Aaron Rodgers has a new head coach. In your career, because I keep saying with Aaron, we just got to give it time to bake. We can't. I mean, he's playing Minnesota's defense and, Chicago, Denver. Are you seeing the right stuff with Green Bay's offense? Are you seeing? I mean, their defense is clearly improved.
Physicality, and it's so hard because we're such a data generation. There's no data that kind of can quantify how physical you are, right? But your eye can if you've been in it. And watching Green Bay now for 3 weeks offensively, they're not as clean. They're not going to get, the numbers aren't going to be the same because they're not running that West Coast completion offense, but they're more physical. They're going to be able to take the game to you. They can run the ball inside. They're going to be able to play action. They'll score points because they'll pound people and wear them out. And then Aaron has obviously all the talent in the world to push the ball down the football field. I think they're finding their identity offensively. But when you have that physicality, when you have that ability to run the ball in must-run situations, what it does for your defense, obviously it lets them play better. What it does for your locker room, the confidence it brings is immeasurable. And then eventually you kind of find your rhythm of who you are in your passing game. And trust me, Aaron's going to be up all night, every night trying to figure that out because he does want to, he wants to be the lead dog. And then that's how he's wired and he should be. But now they have this element that they haven't had with the physicality on offense. And I think it's going to complement this defense perfectly.
Finally, we watch Cleveland and L.A., and we're used to the Rams winning last couple of years. And, Cleveland is the story today. But, the Rams, Todd Gurley does not have the pop. They're good at a lot. I'm not sure outside of Aaron Donald how great they are at a lot of things. But, man, Trent, they win on the road. And that is hard in the NFL. And that was the biggest game in Cleveland in 20 years. Your thoughts on the Ram performance last night.
I think they're pretty darn good defensively. I mean, Aaron Donald obviously makes you incredibly explosive defensively. I mean, it's hard to say he's not the best player in football. I mean, him or Tom Brady. They impact a game more than anybody else. But I think defensively they are a very, very good team, and they're going to be in every game. They can cover you. They can rush you. They can stop the run. Wade Phillips has been a great coordinator for a long time. So all they got to be is okay offensively. And with getting cut back, he is one of the best route runners in all football. He creates a lot of space. Jared's only going to get better. They're going to run the ball with 2 different backs. One of them, when healthy, is as good as anybody. They're pretty good on the offensive line. They have speed at wide receiver. So I think the Rams, they might be a little clunky right now. I'll use that word again. but they're only going to get better too. And that defense is always going to give them a chance. And what you're seeing with them winning on the road is, I mean, this has been said for years, and it's true. Defense gives you the ability to go on the road and win football games. And that's why the Rams can go on the road in harsh environments. And like you said, the biggest game in Cleveland in forever, and take it to them because that defense is their calling card.
Trent Dilfer, a Super Bowl champ. By the way, his high school football program has a full-time nutritionist, academic coach, NFL strength coach, supposed to be an unbelievable weight room. And look at all this gear behind him. Look at that. Can you take transfers or anything like that, or is it...
I can bring them on. we put up 63 the other night, so we're getting better. We have our arch rival coming up in 2 weeks. They've beaten us for 7 straight years, so be thinking about me. I'm sleeping on this couch behind me watching tape every night.
Trent's good. One of my best friends in the biz. Trent, great talking to you, buddy.
Thanks, buddy.
All right, good for him. I love that story. Here's Joy with the news.
No.